Hello and welcome to Tree Planting 101. I'm John Hennessy. I'm a certified ISA municipal specialist. I work here at the city of Brampton and I love my job. So, you want to plant a tree. My first question to you would be, do you want the tree to thrive, survive, or squeak out a meager existence? Today we're going to be talking about how we get our trees to thrive. There's a few basic principles. I'm going to go into a little bit of detail about them. The first one is the right tree in the right location. Find the location in your backyard or front yard that you want to plant a tree, and make sure that the tree that you're picking is going to fit into that location. So location, location, location works in real estate, works for trees as well. The second one, while we're doing our homework, is to identify the species to fit the location. Once that's done, the next thing we want to look at are how much sun do we get and what sort of soil we have. In Brampton, we're blessed with a heavy clay soil. We may not like digging through it, but for our trees, it's magical. We want robust trees. We want trees that are going to dance in the winds. We want trees that are going to zen out through drought. And we want trees that are going to go the distance with the bugs and the disease. And your opportunity is right now when we plant our tree to make sure we got the right species in the right location. After we've selected the species and the location, we're going to be dealing with the hole. So typically, we're going to start by digging our hole. The first thing that we're going to do is identify the planting location, where our hole is going to be, and we're going to start by removing the sod around this location. We don't want to take any soil up, we really just want to be removing the grass, so we're just going to create a little zone here where our tree is going to go. We have removed a nice size area here. We're removing the grass around this location, as the grass will compete with our tree for the water. The tree drinks water very slowly, grass drinks it quickly. So, now that we've got a little location set up here, let's have a look at our soil. Our clay soils will typically, when you squeeze them, hold its shape. A loam soil would break under this pressure, and a sand soil will crumble right between your fingers like this. So we've sourced this tree from a local nursery, and they've harvested the seed and grown it into this little tree. Very delicately, we'll give our tree a little massage before we take it out. Turn the tree upside down, holding your hand over the base, and it should ever so gingerly just slide out. And here are our new roots. And as you can see, they're growing in a girdling fashion around them. So we're going to loosen those up a little bit. Some people will actually take scissors if it's really bad, but this one's not too bad. And we don't want to disturb the root ball too much. Root ball is intact. Gently scrape around the edges. I highly advise using a mycorrhizae rather than a fertilizer. The mycorrhizae, unlike a fertilizer, would need to be directly applied to the roots. So if we have mycorrhizae, we're going to put it right into the roots there and we'll tuck it down. And now we need to make sure our depth is good. What you can do is you can measure how deep your root ball is. So we've got about 4 inches of depth that we want. The next thing that you'd want to think about is after we've dug the right size hole is to loosening the root ball so that the roots come out of the container and can spread very nicely into the surrounding soil. It's going to be very hard for a root to penetrate this. So what we're going to do is we're going to scarify our hole a little bit, and we're going to create some nooks and crannies for these little roots to penetrate into the new soil. So there you go, a little scratch up around the edges, help our tree get established. And I haven't dug a deep enough hole. That's okay. I'm going to continue excavating until we have the right depth, and I'll scarify again. That's some good Brampton clay. Okay, let's try that again. So we'll make sure the bottom of our planting hole is flat. We'll put our tree in. You can use your shovel to test the grade. So you put your shovel across the hole, and I'll tell you, we are right at grade. Because we're in Brampton, because this clay is very heavy, I'm in fact going to lift it up a little bit because I want the tree above grade. So now what we have, got our tree sitting in there. It's sitting slightly above grade. Tap our grass around and let it shake off. The best of the soil is at the top of your soil. You can in fact use this sod somewhere else to patch some poor looking grass in your lawn. We're going to top dress with some mulch. And mulch is really part of your organic material. So there's our tree sitting slightly above grade, and we'll make sure that no one's piled up anything around it. Typically at the base of your tree you'll see a little flare come out here, and that's where you want your tree to be coming at with the ground. So we're looking pretty good. The next component is mulch. So the mulch that we'll be using today is not green wood. It is well broken down already. Using mulch that is still green will actually leach some nutrients. So this is not an uncommon sight. You'll see this at your average gas station and so forth. It's called Volcano mulching. Some people believe that it looks great, but is in fact a really serious detriment to the tree being established. We don't want any moisture sitting on the trunk of our tree. So what we'll do is we're going to be gently pushing our mulch back to create a ring or a donut. And so we'll keep pushing back, push back a little bit further, a little bit further. And what we're doing is creating a vessel. Extra trees, extra water will reside in this area, giving the tree enough time to take it up. So as you can see, we've gone right back to the original grade. This is the soil that we planted at. It can very quickly end up like this. So we'll just give the tree the space that it wants. And now you won't have to worry about your string trimmer or your lawnmower damaging the trunk of the tree. And we'll know that this is going to break down slowly, provide new food for our tree. And the last component that we're missing here, and I would tell you is probably the most important one, is to take care of your tree. It's a living organism. We've removed its natural growing medium for it. So we're going to assist. And the most important piece of that component is to water your tree. Believe it or not, fairly complex. When your soil dries out and you pour water on it, it doesn't go into the root system, it goes into our sewers. And we have a few devices here I'm going to show you that you can use. You can include a coconut mat like this. The coconut fiber will actually break down and provides all the same benefits that our mulch does. And you can see there's a nice little hole cut out there for it. Watering bags are a new tool to help your tree stay well watered. It's quite simple. The bags are about $30. And it's really as simple as zipping it up at the base of the tree. And underneath here, there's a little sleeve that you can fill the bag up with water. The bottom of the bag has very small holes in it that will release the water slowly for your tree. Trees need to go down deep. Ultimately, the roots want to get into the water table. When we plant a new tree and use our sprinkler, we're actually training J roots. The roots come back up to the surface and travel across the top of your lawn. So watering it well when you're planting it is the difference between your tree being drought tolerant and having a little bit more structural integrity for having those roots a little bit deeper into the water table. So if you can't use a product like this, a garbage bag, a bucket with a few holes drilled into the bottom of your bucket, will suffice for slowly letting the water drain into the soil. Okay, so ideally there are 2 good times to plant trees. One will be in the spring, and as you can see, we're planting in the fall. Our leaves are getting a little crispy. We have a little bit of fall color happening. If you're gonna plant in the fall, we do this because of the extra water we get in the fall. I would suggest to you that spring is ultimately the best time, because the roots are getting an entire growing season to establish before the winter. And the last thing that you're going to do is you're not going to forget about your tree, and you'll come back and you'll visit it. It appreciates your TLC, it knows you're taking care of it, and that will help it get established for a great long life. Thanks so much for your time today. Happy tree planting.